All right, let's talk about the perfectionist's prison. It's an unspoken rule, isn't it? One that governs the lives of millions, yet almost no one truly understands what it's doing to them.
So let's just start right there. I want you to look at this question, and I mean really look at it. Why do you glorify your own paralysis? Because you do, don't you? You dress it up, you call it high standards, you call it attention to detail, you wear your perfectionism like it's some kind of badge of honor, all while you are completely, utterly stuck. You're celebrating the very thing that keeps you locked in a cage.
You feel that, right? That question hits a nerve, and that's because you've just stumbled upon an unspoken rule. Welcome. This is the place for the hard truths, the psychological realities that are running your life from beneath the surface, completely without your permission. Well, today, we're taking that permission back. Okay, let's begin. Section 1, the perfectionist's prison. Your so-called high standards, they are not a staircase you're climbing to success. Let's be real. They are the bars of a psychological cage, a cage that you built for yourself. And the craziest part, you are both the prisoner and the guard. You know, there's actually a clinical term for this. It's called perfection paralysis. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's an excessive obsession with a fantasy. The fantasy of a perfect outcome that leads directly to inaction, to procrastination, to a life that's literally defined by all the opportunities you let slip through your fingers, all because you were too afraid to even begin.
So let's get one thing crystal clear right now. This is not a virtue, it is not a strength, it is a pathology. It's a vicious, self-reinforcing cycle that just masquerades as some kind of noble pursuit.
And this is the trap. Right here. It's a loop. It starts with perfectionism, this impossible demand for a flawless outcome. Well, that creates an overwhelming fear of failure, which naturally leads to step 2, procrastination. You delay, you do more research, you plan endlessly, but you don't actually do anything. And that inaction just hardens. It solidifies into total paralysis. You're frozen. And then, here's the kicker. What's the ego's defense? It doubles down on the original delusion. Oh, I'm not acting because my standards are just so high. And boom, the cycle starts all over again, even stronger this time.
Now, that cycle, it isn't just some bad habit. To break it, you have to understand its source. This isn't about workflow or time management. This is about a war being waged inside your own mind. We're about to expose the real reason you can't act.
Inside of you, right now, there are 2 distinct entities. The thinker Ray Dalio calls them the 2 yous. First, there's the upper level you, your conscious, logical mind. It knows your goals. It knows what needs to be done. But then there's the lower level you, your subconscious, emotional brain. This is the home of your deepest fears, your most primitive instincts, and your ego. And you have to understand this. That lower level you is almost always the one in control. This quote from Dalio is everything. Your paralysis is not a logical choice. You can't explain it rationally because it's not a rational decision. It's an emotional, defensive reaction from your lower level self, which is just trying to protect you from what it sees as a threat. And what is that threat? It's the threat to your ego. This is what we call the ego barrier. Your perfectionism is not about producing high-quality work. Let me say that again. It has nothing to do with quality. It is a defense mechanism designed to protect your ego from ever being proven flawed, because to that primitive part of your brain, being flawed means being rejected by the tribe, a fate it equates with, well, game over. So it craves praise and it experiences any criticism, any mistake, not as feedback, but as a direct attack on its very survival.
So here's the crucial point. Your lower level self, your ego, is obsessed with the need to be right, to appear perfect. But that need is in a direct fight with the only thing that creates progress. The need to find out what's true. Your potential is being sacrificed at the altar of your ego's fragility.
Okay, let's make this real. This internal war has devastating external consequences. This is the high cost of inaction. This is the price you are paying every single day for remaining in your prison. Just look at this list. This isn't abstract. This is your life. Constant procrastination and missed deadlines. The mental exhaustion of decision fatigue, where even simple choices become monumental tasks. Think about the missed opportunities, the promotions, the projects, the relationships you never even started. Feel that chronic stress and anxiety that comes from knowing you're not living up to your potential. See the strain on your relationships with people who just can't rely on you. And the most tragic of all, your own stunted personal growth. This is the bill for your perfectionism, and it comes due every single day. So what's the way out? How do you escape?
It's not a secret key or some complicated map. It's a simple, powerful, unspoken rule that every high achiever understands, whether they say it out loud or not. It is the power of messy action.
You have to burn a new rule into your mind. And the rule is this: the goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. Your entire objective has been wrong. Stop chasing the phantom of perfection. The only goal that matters is small, incremental, messy, imperfect progress.
And to put this into practice, we can borrow a concept from the world of innovation, the minimum viable product, or MVP. This idea, popularized by Eric Ries, fundamentally reframes your work. You are no longer creating a final masterpiece to be judged. You are creating the smallest possible experiment designed for one purpose: to get feedback and to learn. This gives you a new process, a logical alternative to paralysis. It's a cycle of learning. Step 1, form a hypothesis. What do you think will work? Step 2, build an MVP, the quickest, rawest version to test that idea. Step 3, get feedback. This is what Ries calls validated learning. See what the real world tells you. Step 4, adapt and repeat. You take that learning and you start the loop again. This is how progress actually happens. And this process forces you to do the one thing your ego fears most. It forces you to reframe your relationship with failure. In this model, there is no such thing as a mistake. There are only outcomes. There are only data points. There are only learning experiences that make the next iteration better.
All right, now for the final truth, the deepest, unspoken rule of all. The very thing your lower-level self has been desperately trying to avoid, it is not an obstacle, it is the path itself.
This equation from Ray Dalio is a fundamental law of the universe. Pain plus reflection equals progress. The discomfort of your mistakes, the sting of criticism, the frustration of a flawed first draft. That's the pain. It is the signal that something isn't right, but it's useless without the second part, reflection. When you reflect on that pain, you diagnose the problem, you learn the lesson, and that is what creates all progress. Look at this diagram. People think progress is a straight line, always going up. That is a fantasy. This is the reality. It's an endless, iterative loop. You set goals. You inevitably run into problems. That's the pain. You must then diagnose those problems to find the root cause. You design a new plan, and then you get back to doing. This messy, looping, often painful process is not chaos. This is the engine of progress.
So this is the choice, laid bare. On one side, you've got the ego's prison. You can keep seeking an imaginary perfection, fearing every mistake and remaining paralyzed. Or you can choose the path of progress. You can seek learning instead of praise. You can embrace the pain that signals growth, and you can commit to taking messy, imperfect, powerful action.
And it all comes down to this. This is not a suggestion. This is a challenge to the very core of who you are. Will you continue to live in the comfortable ignorance of your prison, glorifying your own paralysis? Or will you make the commitment, right now, to see reality as it truly is, and finally start moving forward?
Your awakening starts now. This isn't just about watching something. It's a decision. You commit to this path by subscribing. You declare your choice by commenting below with your commitment to messy action. You join the movement of those who choose progress over perfection by liking this transmission. Ring the bell for the truth. The choice, as always, is yours.